Welcome to the Jim Fleming Show on the Rhody Sports Network. From Learfield, tonight's show is brought to you by Pizza Gourmet. Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust is a proud sponsor of URI football. Dunkin' Donuts, sip the Rhody way. By Rhode Island Medical Imaging, the official medical imaging company of URI Athletics. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. And by Dave's Fresh Marketplace, better food, better service. Here's your host, Steve MacDonald.
All righty, welcome back once again to our favorite spot here, George McAuliffe's place at the Mews Tavern. Got a packed house on hand for the Jim Fleming Coaches Show as the Rams at 8-1. And going into 8-2 now, but going into a big weekend.
Like
8-1 was better, right?
That
yeah,
good. Let's just pretend that.
That's all right. 8-1 as far as FCS victories for Rhode Island. They took their first one against Delaware at Delaware, which is a team that's transitioning to FBS. So that is a really good effort down there. Didn't come back with what you wanted, but you certainly have everything in front of you. We're going to talk about the situation with this team as we get down to the last 2 weeks of the season. First, Evan Farrell left that game, Coach, with injury, and Hunter Helms took over and brought you the rest of the way. Just an update, status report on that situation.
You know, he's like a lot of our other kids, banged up at this time of year, and so he's working through the week, and it'll be a game time decision on who we start out there, and but he's, getting there. He's getting there. I can't say he's all the way there, but we're on the way.
Hunter Helms, you got a good look at him on Saturday.
Yep.
What were your thoughts? What did you see?
I thought it was good. He came in, and I thought it was a good opportunity. He comes on in, in the relief role and came in, and I thought he managed the game very well. I thought he threw the ball, good. I know he had a couple of throws that he missed, but at the same time, I thought he produced and got us, in position to win. We just were unable to finish it off.
How difficult is that for any player, but especially a quarterback, to be able to be on the sideline at the beginning of the game, then get your number called to come in, having not gone through that regular preparation for a game as a starter?
Well, you get reps, but you don't get as many as the starter. So, you're getting a lot of mental reps. You're going through those things, watching the starter go through it, but you're going to get enough there, and there's enough banked reps during the course of the season to think, to know that he can come in and operate effectively. So absolutely. What's it like? It's like any other position. Guy goes down, someone's got to come in and step up, and I thought he did a good job. Absolutely.
8-2, 5-1 in league play. The only losses are to Big Ten Minnesota and to Delaware, who will be an FBS team next year. Puts the Rams at number 15 in the Stats Perform poll and number 18 in the Coaches poll. So you lose by 3 on the road to Delaware, and you drop 4 spots in one poll and 8 spots in another. I don't know what people...
There's a lot of haters out there. That's bottom line. I can't understand that either, but I know it. We're coming back, and I said, they're going to drop us pretty significantly. But what we have to do is we're still in control of our own destiny. Yeah. We got to win this weekend, and we got to win out versus Bryant. And if we're able to do that, a little bit of help from Richmond and William & Mary, who knows what can happen.
Yeah, you're still in play for the automatic qualifier in the league, and you're also, it is under your destiny now as far as being at least a shareholder of the CAA title. If you win your last 2 games, and we don't want to jump 2 games ahead, but if you do win that, we'll look at them as a group just this once, you win those 2 games, and you're going to be co-champions in the CAA, because that Delaware game won't factor into a co-champion
the strangest thing in the world. This whole configuration with Delaware. I don't know if I'm leaving. You're leaving a party. Get out. See ya. Don't want to see you in the standings. Don't want to see you in any situation.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be a conference game. Yeah. But I made my arguments that fell on deaf ears earlier on.
They've heard about it.
Yeah.
And the reasoning from their standpoint is that Delaware has amped up their scholarships to get to the FBS level, and so as they progress up that ladder, it becomes less than equal footing with the teams that are in the FCS with fewer scholarships. So that was the compromise. Let them play. They can't win the championship. They can't participate in the playoffs.
Yep.
And if the loss to them keeps you from being part of the championship group, a co-champion or what have you, then that loss will not count against the argument. So
that's very well explained. The problem I had with it was that they could be able to present a roster of 70 scholarship players each and every week.
Yeah.
And we don't even get to know who's on that roster. It goes straight to the conference office. But, that's water under the bridge, and we're moving on from that one. We won't have a chance to go down and see them again, and probably never will.
Yeah, and they're right, exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, they have limited them. I think they've taken 5 scholarships away from the FBS level when they play against CAA teams, but not down to the level of an FBS. So anyway, yeah, that I agree with you. That's in the taillights right now. But, Coach, when you look at that, you're that close to really making history at Rhode Island. Last time they've shared a title. The CAA was not involved at all. The Atlantic 10 prior to that was not. It was the Yankee Conference, and it was back in 1985. Also in 84, co-champions in 81, co-champions in 85, champions since then. No rings for Rhode Island, but you're a breath away.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been working at for a long period of time. I mean, the significance of these final 2 games is incredible. I think our kids have prepared well. That was a tough loss to bounce off of from last week, but they did very well and had a good week of practice, and now we just got to play our best game this weekend.
So in the Stats Perform poll, Villanova's 9, Richmond 11, Rhode Island 15, Stony Brook 16. Coaches poll, the same 4, configured a little bit differently. Richmond is the highest-ranked CAA team at 7, Villanova 8, Stony Brook 17, Rhode Island 18, with William & Mary getting votes in both but outside the top 25, and UNH getting votes in the Stats Perform but not in the coaches. So it clearly looks that if those 4 teams take care of business, Villanova, Richmond, Rhode Island, Stony Brook, that those will probably be the 4 that represent the CAA going forward, and then the seeding becomes very important, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know better than I do. You study this stuff. I try to stay focused exactly on what's important right now. But I did mention to the kids, on Monday, when we got back together, just, one time we're going to talk about what the next 2 games will mean to us and for us, But I think you're spot on. We really would, we want to finish. We want to win this week. We want to win the next week. We want to, hope that things fall right and we get a bye week in that first week of the playoffs. That would be a good Thanksgiving.
Stay with the big picture a little bit, then we'll get back to last week's game and this coming week, more importantly. But the history of the CAA and the playoffs, at least 3 teams have gotten in from the CAA in 16 of the last 18 seasons. So at least 3, and many times more than that. But 13 times in league history, 4+ teams have gotten in, so at least 4. And 5 teams have gotten in on 4 occasions, 2007, 2008, 2011, and 2022, just a couple of years ago. And 1 year, 2018, we got 6 teams in. So the multiples are given, and the 3s and the 4s are pretty commonplace. So it does tell a good story for those top 4 teams right now as they go into the last couple of weekends. This year, with those teams in particular, but the league as a whole, Coach, do you feel like this is a 4-bid league, maybe a 5-bid league, certainly a 4-bid league?
I would certainly say that it's a 4-bid league. It's still a very competitive conference. It's expanded quite a bit. So I don't know how everybody's going to look at it. But, we've been snake bit at times. We thought we were going to get in a couple of years ago, so we can't leave anything to chance. I always said that 8 was the magic number. I think 9's probably the magic number this year.
Sure.
10 obviously certainly puts you in. But, I think as we look at it, we win this weekend, we'll have a chance to move on and play extra games. And, that's what we've been working very hard for. And to have an opportunity to win a championship this late in November is a very good tribute to these kids, particularly that group of seniors that, is walking out of here tomorrow. What I told them today, not their last game at Meade.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. We're talking about senior. Let's talk about it right now. Senior Day is at 1 o'clock at Meade when Albany comes to town this weekend. There are tickets available, 874 Rams. We've had consistent sellouts all year long. It's important, especially on a game that can really punch your ticket, Coach, in a lot of ways, for that place to be full and us to really get it rocking over at Meade Stadium, right? Yeah,
we need it. I mean, we need the help. I think it's first and foremost, pack the stands to be able to pay tribute to these 22 kids that are, going to be honored, not necessarily the last game at Meade, like I said, but, it's important that we get there, we're loud, and we start to go ahead and develop as a fan base, yelling and screaming and going nuts. And that really motivates our kids. They like it loud. We play music all day long during practice just to keep it loud. And, when we're playing well and they're in the game right now, that gives them some extra juice, and we're hoping we can get that this weekend.
I've been to practice, and it's clear that you're not picking the music.
No, there's a couple of days, I don't know, they got little genres of what they're going into, and, when it's vibing pretty good, I'm good. But when the music stinks, I get kind of a little irritated.
Not hearing a lot of Springsteen out there,
No,
Coach.
no. Occasionally I'll throw some out, and they're looking at me sideways. Go ahead and I still remember.
Guys don't know who Billy Joel is? Come on, will you?
Oh gosh, I do.
This doesn't get you ready for the game. Nothing will.
I
right?
just still remember the first song we played in 2014 was "Man in the Mirror" by Michael Jackson.
No kidding.
Let's make a change. And it's taking a little while, but we're making a change.
If you did have controls over that, just to get off the track for a second, what will we be hearing at practice?
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the old soul stuff is my go-to.
All right.
But then you can mix in some good stuff. Our favorite song is Kirk Franklin's "Stomp."
Stomp?
Yeah, and these guys know it very well. We start to practice off with it, and they're vibing and clapping. It's a gospel song, which is pretty cool, and you got to go. You got to listen to it.
I got to listen to that one.
Yeah, you got to. Yes,
absolutely. You guys like that one, Stomp? That's when we get going. Okay, sounds great. That's awesome. That's
such enthusiasm from this crew. Man.
If we had a house band, we'd play it right now. But the house band is off today. They're touring. I think they're at Madison Square Garden tonight.
Yeah, no doubt.
got a better gig than the Mews could pay them over here. Coach, let's talk about those seniors and take them collectively. Is that the best way? We'll do the defense first. And we got a Westley Neal who's going to be on the show with us, sitting right in front of us. Malachi Burby, Gabe Solomons, Cole Brockwell, Sean Pelkiston, Harold Miles, Sean Falloy, and Quentin Hunter Colvin, Emmanuel Gomes, Braden Price, Freddie Millay, all on the defensive side, going to be playing in their last games, Coach.
Yeah, like I said, it's these kids have come in. I think I said it this morning. You probably got the number. It was like 32 and 16. I can't remember exactly what it was. Over the time that these guys have been contributors on the football team. Mm-hmm. As a group, they're walking out of here. 6 of them have master's degrees. 3 of them have second degrees. And, double major type things, and 3 of them are getting a grad certificate. So they're walking out here as a successful group, both on and off the field, and couldn't be prouder of them. And defensively, as you see, if you look at, what I've been after since 2014 is a championship-level defense. And I think that, when you really look at the whole body of work that these kids have put in together during the course of this season, it's very arguable, and that's what the difference in our success has been. Their ability to go out there and put the ball down wherever it is and get off the field. They've done some pretty spectacular things, and I expect we got a lot more in store for the next 2 weeks for sure.
Absolutely. You look at Freddie Millay, he's 5th in tackles on the team. He's got a few TFLs, a pick, fumble recovery. Braden Price is 8th on the team in tackles right now with 5 TFLs and has played really well for you. A lot of those DBs have done an excellent job. And then really all 3 tiers, the linebackers, the defensive linemen, you got some key guys going down the stretch, and they're looking to do something special at URI before their seasons come to an end, and it is sitting right in front of all of us, Coach. Before we move on to the offensive side, I want to talk about that Delaware game because we're talking about the defense. Down 7-0 early in that. They 92 yards on the first drive, and we're all like, uh-oh, And then
you weren't the only one.
Yeah. That's what I said. I'm not sure what you said, but it's close to that. Yeah. But then, just like that, it's 14-7. Rhode Island ahead with 2 great defensive plays causing turnovers.
Yeah, I mean that's the name of the game. When you're able to turn it over and favorable field position and give an offense an opportunity to score on a short field, and then be able to create another play on this beginning of the next drive and go up and have a miraculous bounce come right on up to you and get in the end zone. You're going, hey, this is going to be a special day. And I saw it on both sides of the ball, as we got going. I remember the first 3rd down he threw to Tommy right here was a laser beam, and I said this could get real interesting during the course of the day, and it was. It was a good football game. We just came up a little bit short at the end.
Absolutely. Harold Miles did a great job with the strip sack and fumble recovery, able to set up 3 plays later. Hunter to Marquise Buchanan, 22 yards for a touchdown. That really got you going.
Yeah, sure it did. And, there's a lot of tribute to this group that's sitting right in front of us.
Yeah,
for everybody that's listening. We got most of our D-line sitting here, and their coach, Marcel Lazard, does an incredible job with those guys, and they all rotate in, quite a bit, and it keeps them fresh, keeps them active, and they've been very, very important in terms of the ability of our defense to stop people, and they'll be counted on again.
Yeah,
this weekend.
If you ever want to have an event and you want to fill the house, just invite Wesley Neal. I think that's the idea, right? Because he doesn't come alone, I'll tell you that.
No, he doesn't. He came up to me during stretch today. When I'm focused on practice, he goes, "Hey, can I bring everybody to dinner tonight?" I said, "Sure can, man. Bring them on. I'd love to see everybody. We'll bring the whole team next time."
Yeah, can you ask me in 2 hours when we're done with this, please? That would be great. But that's all right. Hey, talk about the offense, Coach. So the seniors that'll be honored on Sunday, and I think on Saturday. And again, you bring up a great point. That it's going to be nice to recognize them, knowing that the season isn't even close to being done. That there's so much football to be played. That's going to be really a positive vibe, I think.
Well, you think about how many times we've had this conversation. I guess you counted as 11 years we've been doing this, sending seniors out and, talking about the emotions of their last game in Meade and all the rest of it. I think, we got that out of the way this morning, just, pay tribute, but this is not their last game in Meade.
Yeah.
We're playing for something special. We've got to go in and focus and make sure we're able to take care of business on Saturday. And then you're going to play again. And, if we're able to take the next step after that, you'll play at home for sure. And maybe even get a week off to rest a little bit, which would be outstanding.
Yeah, that would be.
But we got a lot of work to do, man.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Senior day for the offense. So you're talking at running back position, Deion Silas and Malik Grant. Malik has been a special player, and Deion's really come along to make that a kind of a balanced attack at the running back position. And Gabe Sloat as well, a captain for you. It was a great blocker from that running back position and punt returner as well.
Yeah, it's a great room. We talked about this early in the season. There's just not enough balls to go around sometimes, But you look at it, I think that the 1-2 punch we have right now with Deion and Malik has been outstanding. I think, the balance of what we're trying to get those guys touches is what you really try to guide the offensive attack for. And I know Murph's working hard on getting that done. And then, Gabe always gets in there and gives you something special. He's always been that player that shows up. You don't expect that all of a sudden, bang, there's a big play that he's making.
Absolutely.
And helping us move the chains and doing things that are very special. The punt return component is real important to us. So that's been a great room, and they're going to get their work tomorrow on Saturday.
Tell you, when you were describing Gabe, and it was very accurate for Gabe, I also thought about the guy that's eating the wings right in front of me here, Tommy Smith. I mean, talk about a guy when you need a big play, he just keeps on showing up, right? Right down there.
Every spring before, he became, a household name, Tommy Smith, is that every spring he was like, I called him Touchdown Tommy, 4 or 5 years ago, and now we finally figured out, all right, let's get this guy on the field and get him the ball, and he's taken advantage of every opportunity. I'm really proud of how he's developed. And one of the other great stories that we've had came on in here on his own dime, walk-on player, and then earned his way. And we've had a lot of those special stories, and he represents them very, very well.
Yeah, out on the sign in front of the Mews in lights, it says Tommy Smith and Wes Neal here, and then right at the bottom it says with Coach Fleming. So
there's 100% true, and I'm sure George made that happen for sure. He probably put a line through Fleming.
How about George dressed up? Huh?
He looks
nice.
good.
Yeah,
he looks good.
Absolutely.
He looks good, yeah.
He gets the best dressed award, no question about that.
Can't hide money.
You really can't. Also on the offense, a few good receivers for you, Coach. Sean Harris and Tommy we talked about, and Jig Williams, and then Brady Rourke and Jordan Riando at the tight end position, Adam McKenna on the line. Some key guys for you on the offensive side that are going to be putting a lot on the line on Saturday for you and have for a long time.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that those guys have all contributed greatly to, everything we put in, and it's hard to believe when you start looking at that list of kids right now. You think that we're going to be empty next year, but really we've got good players at all positions coming back. But that group on offense and defense and contributors on special teams, you couldn't ask any more for a group of guys. The only thing I'm asking them for is to make sure we get a good W on Saturday.
Absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned special teams. D'Amato Cristani, your long snapper, best in the business, right? I have never seen anybody better than him in all the games that we've played as well. And certainly you put Gabe in that special teams category as well as a running back. But Cristano really is a special guy to watch.
He's a coach. I mean, he's in the facility every day.
Yeah.
first in. He's stretching and doing all his things. He's very serious about his craft. He works extremely hard at it, and he basically has been a coach for us. Vinny Sinagra, coaches those guys and keeps them in a tight group. But Donato is really. He's an assistant special teams coach / long snapper, and
he looks like he's 35.
I know.
Looks like he's just ready to go to work. And for Dev Walter, I don't know why they even bother practicing the snaps, because it's right there every time,
that is one of the things in football that I think, no one really, looks at the value of. I mean, to be able to snap that thing on a dime and be able to get it to someone who's got to catch it and put it down is incredibly important, and those guys have done a good job all year. You always knock on wood. You're nervous about those things.
Yeah.
We got a win game coming up this weekend, so, that can affect snaps too. But
Donato
knows how to handle all that stuff, and I'm really excited for what he's done for us, what he's going to do for us, and then his opportunities after graduation where he's going to try to chase it in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think he has that ability to do that. You mentioned it. It's always about the kicker, right? But there's things that happen before he goes to work that need to be on the dime as well. So that's going to be you mentioned the wind. It is going to be a windy day. It could be a nice day, but it'll be a windy day. And Terry Lynch is here, Hall of Famer from the University of Rhode Island, my great friend and broadcast partner, and his daughter Taylor. Terry's picking up the tab over there for Tay, I hope.
Very, very similar dress attire to George McAuliffe.
Yeah, he and George are on opposite ends of the spectrum. There's no question.
No doubt.
I've done the games with Terry for 100 years, and there has never, I don't care how cold, there has never been a game that he's been in long. Has there, long pants? Not once.
I'm out with a million different layers today, and he comes out to practice every Thursday and sits around. He's wearing exactly what he's wearing right now.
Like he just came from Scarborough Beach or something.
That's where he hangs, I think.
Oh, there's no question. You want to find him in the summer.
Yeah, there he goes.
Town Beach, right? Not Scarborough, right?
Over Narragansett, man.
We got to make sure we're right on that. But we mentioned the wind. Terry always said, rain's rain, but wind is worse, because in order to prepare for and to manage. Do you do anything special, or is there anything you can do?
We had discussions as a staff, after, Thursday's practice, we do what we always do. We get together about 12:15 and we start talking about, how we're going to manage those things. Yes, you have to manage them in terms of, how you want to be poised with, which direction you're going in the fourth quarter. When do you want the wind in the first or second? It can become, problematic. It can become a two-quarter game in terms of what you're able to do in the pass game the kicking game. Mm-hmm. But it's management of field position. We got to, be able to, at times you got to change your little kicking style. You got to be able to go a couple different things. So we're prepared for that. And, we get to practice in it every day.
Yeah, right.
We know exactly where that wind's coming from. We know how it acts, and so do our kickers, and so do our punters, and so does everybody else. Yeah, but the opponent that comes in and says, oh, gosh, it's really blowing out there.
Not like C.D. Lamb was complaining about the sun coming through the roof.
Not a lot of complaining about that.
C.D., you played here before, right? Yeah, I think so. Same sun, same roof, same hole. Yeah, that's all right there. You mentioned the toss and whether you defer or take it. Is the win, and most all teams defer now. Yep. Try to get that back-to-back at the end of the first, beginning of the second.
Yes.
Is the wind probably the only thing that would sway you to maybe getting it first, as far as looking at direction and stuff like that?
Well, I think that it's hard to go into a game if you make the choice to give up a possession for the win. There's only one time in 39 years that we did that. That was in a critically important Thanksgiving Day game when I was at Akron playing Kent State. It was snowing and blowing sideways, so when we did win the toss, we took the win, and that was the right call.
Okay, yeah.
This weekend, no. We're going to stay, defer it, and then really just make a decision on when we want if we get the ball, because they win the toss, then, we'll have to go ahead and figure out when do we want the win in the first or second quarter.
Sure. Sounds good. We're going to take a break here. I don't know if Tommy or Wes is up first. We never know. The dress rehearsals never go well here. So we'll get one of those guys up, and then the other coach, when we come back, we'll talk about Albany, the game coming up on Saturday. 3-7. They're 1-5 in the league. They've lost 4 straight. They got some guys banged up, but they're always a tough out and well-coached team. And they're going to cause some problems for sure, and we'll get into that when we talk to you on the flip side. It's the Jim Fleming Coaches Show. We're at the Mews Tavern, George McAuliffe's place. I want to thank our friends at Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. Family owned and operated since 1959. Newport Propane will treat you like part of the family. Visit them at newportpropane.com. That's Pete and Jocelyn Sherman, great friends of the program, family members at URI for sure. Take a break, be right back. More coming up. Welcome back once again to the Mews Tavern. URI football is what we're talking about with Jim Fleming Coaches Show, and I want to thank our friends at the Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's Wood Grilled Pizza Crust, proud sponsor of URI football. Order online today at woodgrilledcrusts.com, woodgrilledcrusts.com. Big game coming up on Saturday, a 1 o'clock start over at Mead Stadium. It is Senior Day. Tommy Smith is with us, one of the seniors at the University of Rhode Island, redshirt senior, and you are outnumbered. You got D linemen and linebackers in front of you here, but
yes, sir.
You're the only offensive guy, right?
Yep,
over
certainly.
here, representing the offensive side of the ball for the University of Rhode Island, and so you came in as a quarterback,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Wore number 14.
Yep.
Then you switched over to 91.
I did, yep.
Right? Tight end.
Yep.
And now 81 as a wide receiver.
Exactly.
So have
that.
you kept those jerseys along the way? Do they let you keep them? So when you get your man cave, when you buy your first house, going to have 3 different jerseys
exactly.
up there?
Gonna
all right.
have to.
You're all set. Talk about that transition, making the move from those different positions. And you settled in at the wide receiver spot this year, 21 catches coming into this game. We'll get into all that stuff. But just how difficult is it, like, say, maybe from tight end to wide receiver? Not very far on the field, but
right.
Some different responsibilities.
Yeah, certainly. So I would say as far as tight end to receiver, I mean, like you said, I use a lot of the same attributes and stuff like that, but I always felt like my strengths were obviously in receiving and stuff like that, which was part of the switch. The coach was trying to put me in a position where I would succeed and stuff like that. So the transition from tight end to receiver, definitely a lot easier from quarterback to tight end.
Yep.
Learning to put my hand in the ground for the first time was definitely had its growing pains.
And lately, just to jump ahead a little bit, lately, I mean, you started as a quarterback coming in here, and you're quarterback in high school back in Maynard. You had an opportunity to now, in that package, is that goal line package with the Wildcat, and you get those old feelings back like you were back in high school?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely something that I love. I love being back there for sure, and I definitely try to advocate, self-advocate for as much as that as possible.
Coach, when we're close, let's get me and Sean out there and go, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you got 1 rush and 1 touchdown. That's a pretty good ratio right there.
Yes, sir.
So we like the numbers. That is for sure. Carrying one in at the goal line in the Wildcat with Sean Harris teamed up back there, either at the quarterback or running back position. You guys will shift a little bit, and that has been successful. Was that something from camp, or is that something mid-season that coach said, hey, you know what, we're going to put a little wrinkle in here?
Yeah, that was something that that happened throughout the season, a little wrinkle, and then, exactly. We didn't practice that in camp, but
so now the
it's been something that's grown.
First time you lay it out there, right, you kind of catch the other guys off guard a little bit. And now it's on tape.
For sure.
Everybody's going to know you're doing it, so you can still go to it, but it gets tougher and tougher, I'm sure, to be successful when the other team has seen what you're putting together, right?
Definitely, but the more the defense has to prepare for, the better.
Right, that's a good point, right? They've got to take some time at practice for that, and that takes them away from the base stuff and everything.
Certainly.
Take us through that play. What are you asked to do? What are your responsibilities?
So for the most recent play that we had ran, where Malik took the ball and he scored on the goal line, and we got the first down on that 4th and 1. My responsibility is to check out and make sure the quarterback's covered. If he's not, I'm allowed to throw it, which I'm always hoping for.
Yeah.
And then I start my cadence. We bump over, and similar to tight end position, you go and kick out the defense end and lead up for the running back, which has been Malik.
Excellent. Well, you were quarterback in high school.
Yes, sir.
1,000-yard passer your senior year, right? And
Yes, sir.
1,000-yard rusher as well. So you've done, but every skill player in college football was a quarterback in high school,
Exactly.
right? So that doesn't exactly.
Yeah, I think
punch
we got
your ticket.
3 or 4 quarterbacks in the receiver room. So
they're all over the football field, right?
Yeah.
Because they're usually the best athletes on that team in high school, and so you put them behind the center and see what he can do for you, right? But for you, do you get a little time during the week to throw the ball? Or do you just
I'm always throwing just for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we rep it as well. We prepare for it for sure.
So I mentioned you got 21 catches so far this year. Got a couple of touchdown catches and 1 rush for a touchdown, so 3 TDs altogether. 5 of those 21, though, came in that first game against Holy Cross. 5 catches, 47 yards, a touchdown, a long of 20 in that game. What were your that's game 1, right, from 0. What were your expectations coming out of camp, getting ready for Holy Cross, versus what your numbers were and the targets were by the end of that game? Were you surprised that you had your number either called or he found you?
Yeah, so I definitely, didn't necessarily expect to get 7 targets in that game. That was definitely came to a shock to me. But, just trying to be prepared to play the role that, I needed to play for our team and whatever was best for our team. And in that game, it just happened to play out that I got 7 targets and 5 catches, which was cool.
Terry and I broadcasting the game. I got to be truthful. Coming in, we weren't saying 81's going to be going to be the key guy here, but you were, and really have come up in such big situations over the last 3 games. 8 catches for you. It seems as though there's a little bit of a rhythm being developed there. And are you more confident, more in the whole flow now than you were at the beginning of the year when that kind of came as a shock?
Definitely, yeah. I'm definitely more comfortable out there with the experience of the past few games. And when we have a lot of talent on the offensive side like we do, and in the receiver room we have a lot of speed, it makes it easier to get open with guys like that on the field.
Talk about getting open. When you get the ball, it seems like there's nobody around you. You
get
a lot of yards after the catch and
everything. They tend to forget about me out there, I think.
Well, you got talented receivers out there with you. Everybody's got to be covered, right? And you find yourself in the middle of the field between those hash marks. Boom, here we go, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2019 you get here. And from 19 to 2023, as we mentioned, that progression, quarterback to tight end, you 1 catch and a few kick returns, a punt return, right? But then 2024, the big numbers that we talk about. Along that way, because it's been a lot of years, right? 2019 was not yesterday, right? You
exactly.
got with COVID and the year, the extra, all that stuff. It's, was there any point where you said, you know what, I don't know if this is I'm ever gonna see what the action that I want to see?
Exactly. Yeah, it's easy to think like that sometimes, but so I would say for me, there's definitely been certain times where I've always came into certain self-doubts about whether I would see the field like I was hoping to. And honestly, initially coming in, it's funny because my mindset obviously changed as things progressed. But, so I would say, I didn't know.
Questioned it a little bit along the way, but stuck with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. All about being process-driven, and you can't focus on what's to come. You can only focus on what's at hand, and that's always something that's been difficult. But being where your feet are and handling what's at the task at hand, and controlling what you can control.
Now you got a family member, an extended family. That played here at URI, who probably, did he have a big influence? We're talking about Jake Fire,
yes, sir.
Linebacker at URI, and assistant coach for a year as well. How much influence did he have that you ended up in Kingston?
Yeah, so me and Jake, we've been basically brothers since we were young kids. We've been best friends our whole entire life. So when he came to Rhode Island and he walked on to a Division I program, he was really an inspiration for me, and he really he really paved the way and gave me that sort of hope to be able to come on to Rhode Island as well as a walk-on and do a similar sort of thing that he was doing. So he's a big inspiration for me, and I owe him a big thanks as well. And
great player at URI, really one of the good ones. And and his guys came close.
Yeah.
You guys had that chance to take it to the next step. He must be thrilled for you.
Yeah, for sure. And he's always been in my corner rooting for my success and always been a big supporter of me. Again, like you said, it's easy to get down on yourself, but he's always been somebody who has instilled belief in me even when I didn't have necessarily the utmost belief in myself. So he's somebody that, I really appreciate. And it was a big blessing to be able to play with him for a few years and then have him on the coaching staff as well.
Absolutely. What's he up to now?
So, yeah, he's coaching at UMass. Last time I talked to him was before Brown. He was wishing me luck, again, standing in my corner. But, so he's been coaching at UMass as a safeties coach, an assistant safeties coach there. And I think they're joining the MAC next year. I don't know his next steps.
Yeah.
But, so that's where he's at currently.
Awesome. That's awesome. Devin Farrell, he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he said about you, he's like a sixth man of the year in basketball. That guy that he comes in and does big things for you and puts that team over the top. Coach Fleming in the past, when we've been talking about you quite a bit, mentioned a Swiss Army knife. There's so many ways that you can help a team. Does that describe you pretty well, those two?
I would say so, yeah. I've always tried to pride myself on being able to help the team in as many assets as possible because, like you said initially, again, trying to find the field, you tend to try and find different ways to find the field.
Yeah,
so, that's always been something that...
Two games to go, Tommy.
Yep.
Everything on the line this Saturday, right, to keep you guys in position for postseason and maybe a share of the CAA title. Talk about the excitement you have going into Saturday, not only senior day, but all the other stuff that's on the table.
Right, yeah. We're very excited as a team for the opportunity at hand. And we'd be lying if we didn't understand what's ahead of us. So we're very excited for that opportunity, and we're ready to, as we talk about as a team, put our heart into that game and lay it on the line.
Guys have
for
had
each other.
5 comebacks, right, so far this year. You guys have been in some tough situations and worked your way out. Talk about what goes on that sideline, down by a touchdown, down by whatever, whether it be fourth quarter, third quarter. What keeps you guys moving forward to go get those wins?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the guys that we have on our team and the identity that, we've been working since January, since summer. Like, we've had a ton of guys here, and just the identity of our guys, the type of personalities that we have on this team.
Yeah.
And we believe that we can come back in any sort of situation, and we rely on each other, and we feed off each other, defense and offense, and that identity is something that we're going to continue to take forward.
Yeah, excited about seeing you out there on Saturday. It's time for Know Your Hometown, which is how we finish up with our players here. A couple of questions about Maynard, Massachusetts. How far is Maynard from here?
About an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, not bad, right? So I took a look. I always go on Wikipedia, look up, and there was really nothing very exciting about Maynard, Massachusetts. I think third, they had like top 10 sites, and third was like the library. So, it's usually not a hopping place,
Yeah, exactly.
Unless Wes and all you guys come over, then I'm sure we could get the library going a little bit.
For
but
sure.
What county is Maynard in?
Middlesex.
Middlesex County, very good. What river runs through or by Maynard?
The Assabet River.
The Assabet? Are you 2 for 2? Zip code?
01754.
Oh, that's 3 for 3. Wes, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. We're going to get some Miami questions for you. Area code, you got a couple of them.
978.
Yep.
And I don't know the other one.
351. They have it. I don't know if it is. Here's the final question. This is something that is kind of thrilling happening in Maynard if you ever get there. Why is the presidential village in Maynard called the Presidential Village?
Because it's named after all different kinds of presidents.
I'm going to accept that as correct. All the streets are named in honor of presidents.
Yeah,
exactly. Tommy, I'm going to give you an A+ on that. Fantastic. And an A+ on your career at URI, and especially your senior year here. We're all very proud of all the great work you've done, and it's a great story. But it happened to a really great guy, too, and you're the reason that it's happened. Wish you the best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
And then the weekend after that, and then let's get some more football in for a long time, right?
Yes,
Let's
sir.
not end this season till it's really, really cold out there.
That's right.
Sound good? Tommy, thanks so
Yes, sir.
much. Tommy
Appreciate
Smith with us. Wes Neal going to come up in just a second. Back at the Mews in a bit. Welcome back once again to the Mews Tavern. Hey, Terry. Hey, Terry. Terry Lynch. He's not even paying attention. Could you pay attention, please? We're only doing this for an hour, for God's sakes. Honestly, once the food comes, you lose Terry, that's for sure. We're here at the Mews Tavern, the Jim Fleming Coaches Show. We'll get Coach Flem on for a couple of minutes to talk about Albany. We want to thank Tommy for being on, talking with us, representing the offense, and now Westley Neal representing the defense for us here at Rhode Island. Great defensive lineman for Rhode Island, and want to thank our friends at Ortho Rhode Island as official orthopedics and sports medicine providers for the Rhody Rams. Ortho Rhode Island helps athletes and active people of all ages get better. Better expertise, better care, better outcomes. Learn more about how Ortho Rhode Island can help you get better at orthopedicsri.com. Wes Neal, how about it, huh?
Yes, sir.
Having a great year, man.
Yes,
You're
sir.
doing an awesome job. We appreciate all that you've done for the University of Rhode Island, coming out of Miami, Florida, and you are highly recruited as one of the most highly recruited players to come to Rhode Island as far as rankings in the Scouts.com and the ESPN, the whole deal. Why Rhode Island? What drew you to Kingston, Rhode Island?
That's a great question. First thing I noticed about Rhode Island was the nice water. First thing I noticed. And I'm a big water guy, coming from Miami. I love the water. So the first thing I noticed was the water. Meeting Coach Fleming and a couple of the players that was on the team, it was a big family atmosphere. Like, I felt at home as soon as I met the team. Everybody was, cool, calm, collected. It felt like a spot for me where I needed to make a name for myself, Big fish in a little pond. That's how I look at it. So That was a perfect place for me.
Looking back on it, you happy you made that decision now?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Especially when you're knocking on the door 100%. Right here of a playoff spot, maybe a CAA title, right?
Yes, sir.
These are all the things you've been working for, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So you said you're a water guy, just going up, down and swimming, or are you like you get on a surfboard?
A little bit of both.
Like that?
A little bit of both.
Surfboard?
I'm not a good swimmer, but not surfboard.
No? Oh, okay, all right.
All
right, you like to look at the water and just get out there
and
chill out a little bit. Yeah, you got the beaches right down here. I'm sure, because football, right? You hear all summer.
Yeah.
And in the winter the water's a little less important. But when you're here all summer after practice to go down there and get to the beach in about 5 minutes has to be pretty nice.
Yeah, 100%. It's always nice to get back in the heat.
Yeah, right, exactly. Now you're the captain of the defense, right? We've got great responsibility for you there. Talk about what that means to you.
Man, everything I found out before the team meeting, Coach Fleming came out to me and let me know that the team voted me to be a team captain. Mm-hmm. I was a little shocked at first. Not that I wanted to take that role, not that I did, but it was more of I had to take a different approach towards it and basically take my fastball every day. So now that I'm the captain, everybody looks at me. Everybody looks up to me as different responsibilities and roles I have to do, different things I got to do, hold people accountable, different type of things like that. So it definitely took a big role for me. It took a big step, and I grew a lot from it.
Vocal guy?
Yes, sir.
Vocal guy, ready
yes,
to,
sir.
Yeah. And it's working. You're bringing everybody with you here, right?
100%.
Let us know who we got. Go around the table and let us know who's representing the defense
here. We got Big Cars.
Okay.
Got Tyrell. Got Case, Harold Miles, Kareem. We got Tosa, and my boy Tommy. Can't forget Tommy.
What do you think about Harold when he got that strip sack?
I don't even know how he did that. It happened so quick, but I was happy he got it, though.
Yeah.
That's all that mattered.
Absolutely. The D-line, you guys kind of one unit. You guys travel together a lot, and you got Harold as a linebacker, but a lot of D-linemen here just as a unit. You guys a family?
Yes, sir. There's only 9 of us in that room, and we're the 9 strong. That's how we look at it. So every Thursday night we go out to eat, dinner, do different things together as a team, but it's mostly us in that D-line room, and we keep our bond strong, keep each other, holding each other accountable, and, just keep pushing each other.
I was talking to AJ. He was on with us a couple of weeks ago, AJ Pena, and we're talking about his sack totals and stuff like that, and asked him what was behind it, and he said, we got Wes in the middle who takes 2 or 3 guys
100%.
out, and that leaves us a lot of space to go to work, right?
Yes,
is that your job?
100%. I take pride in that. I'm the man in the middle. I feel like I'm the man in the arena, so without my job, nothing else gets set, so I take accountability in that.
Yeah, you guys, when you talk about AJ and the pass rushers behind you, whether he's considered on the line or a linebacker, outside linebacker, those groups, Coach talks often about that front 7 and how you guys work as a unit and work collectively. Just talk about that group. You got your D-line, but when you expand it to the linebackers as well, that group's been fantastic.
Yes, sir.
For
outside linebackers got AJ Pena, Gabe Solomons. Got linebackers like Dev and Cole. Got guys like that basically, been here before the Rose and got a couple of transfers that haven't been here. They learn the standard, they see the standard, and I feel like the standard's been pushed to the point to where, you have no other choice but to join the standard. So, it's a type of certain way we practice every day.
As a guy who's a captain now and a leader for the last few years on that defensive side, to see guys like Devin Hightower and Cole Brockwell behind you be able to step up from supporting roles to starting roles. They're the 2 leading tacklers right now.
Yes, sir.
Cole's at the top of the CAA. I mean, these guys have really come on the scene.
100%.
You got to be pretty proud of those
Yeah,
guys.
always. I'm always pushing those guys to go harder. No matter what they do, I feel like I always, I harp those guys on the little things. I always go back to technique. Never forget where we came from, which is harping ourselves on the little things and the small details. So,
for them, it's obvious to see the progression and the improvement. For you, you've played at a high level throughout. Where have you gotten better? Where has your game improved, say, this year from last?
I'll say my game got better as in understanding the game and different blocking schemes and, how teams are going to, game plan against me and how I'm being separated and taken out of the box. So I feel like I learned my game from Coach Lazar. He definitely helped the D-line group learn a lot of more different techniques and different ways to, get a lot of one-on-one blocks instead of double teams.
You have a good idea what that O-line is going to do before the game begins. Watch a lot of tape.
100%.
What do you learn from that? What types of things can you take away?
Honestly, it's just like, different blocking schemes they're doing and, like, which way they're going to slide. And a lot of teams slide to AJ because he's a good pass rusher, so we know if they slide to him, we got to find a way to get him a one-on-one and me a one-on-one or anybody else, Carson, Malachi Burby. So we just game plan against that.
So Saturday, you're 2 games away, right? Saturday's the first one. And you guys, everything's in your hands, right? You win these next couple, especially Saturday. Shouldn't say next couple because we're going to look at Saturday. But you do your job, and that CAA championship is right within sight for you. Talk about, I guess, the pressure it puts on in a sense, but the excitement that it brings for you as well.
I don't think it's really pressure. It's more an aspect of us just handling our business, the same thing we've been doing from the get-go since right after fall camp. So we just play our ball, handle what we need to. The rest going to take care of itself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We were talking about the D-line, and Carson Primrose came in, and he was an addition from Sacred Heart that really boosted you guys. Malachi Burby, a fellow upperclassman for you as well. So you got some key guys around you that have played great ball too.
Yes, sir. And it definitely helps me out because they're older guys too, and we got a lot of younger guys in our D-line room. So they see that first group go out there, and you feel me? We holding a lot of people accountable. We going out there taking the grind, giving away our body, putting ourselves on the line and different stuff like that so they can learn from that. So it definitely helps having those older guys out there.
And we got Case Mankins with us as well, and
yes,
he is certainly one of those young guys that has performed well really quickly for you guys. Yeah. Talk about his play.
100%. Case, funny guy, real funny guy. Actually, I love that dude, though. But he's definitely a hard-nosed guy. He loves football. He likes to strike people, and that's exactly what we needed.
Absolutely. So things come down to Saturday, and you get going from there. A lot on the line, and we really appreciate how you're from Gulliver Prep, yes, right? Sir. And 3 sport athletes. So it was football, basketball.
No, I
wish. Football, track and field.
Yes, sir.
Right? You were throwing events,
yes,
right?
Sir.
What'd you throw?
The discus and I forgot what it's called. The shot put.
Okay, yeah.
Shot put.
So football and track and field. What was the third one?
Weightlifting.
Okay,
yes,
sounds good. And what? Now, where are you lifting as far as the team goes? Are you at the top of the list in the weight room?
A lot of strong guys this year, honestly, but I should be at the top, though.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we got another My Hometown quiz coming up for you right here. We're going to talk about Miami, Florida a little bit, okay?
Yes,
we'll get one sports question in, but first a couple of general questions. Miami is the second most visited city in America. Second most visited city in America. What is number one, the number one city that people travel to in America? What do you think it is?
New York?
New York City is right. Very good. How about that? That is awesome. These are a little tougher than Tommy got. Tommy got, zip code and area code.
Yeah,
those are a little easy. Yeah, well, Maynard, we didn't have much to choose from. Maynard is a little down on the visited city list, I think. I'm not sure. It's in the some millions, I believe. Here's another one that's got to do with, let's see, second biggest population in Florida is Miami, right? The city is the second biggest population. What city is number one in population in Florida? Number one city in Florida as far as population.
Jacksonville,
Florida is right.
That's it.
About that. Tommy, you're in trouble. I'll tell you, you're both undefeated, but the strength of schedule over here is a little tougher. So here's our final one for you, right? We're going to have a football question for you. Miami lost in the playoffs last year, right? Miami, are you a Dolphins fan?
Yeah.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Lost in the playoffs last year in the first round. Who did they lose to?
The Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs is right. It's 3 for 3.
Yes,
I'll tell you, Wes. Don't tell Tommy, but you won. We're going to be back in just a second to talk to Coach. Wes, thanks so much, man. Finish up strong. We're rooting for you and proud of you. Thanks so much. Back in just a bit. Welcome back once again to the Mews Tavern, George McAuliffe's place, and home for URI football shows, Jim Fleming coaches shows all season long. And, boy, a lot on the line come Saturday, Coach. Albany in town, 3-7. They're struggling as of late with 4 straight losses, but they got some key guys. And I listened to Greg Catuzzo talk on Monday, and, he's talking about maybe getting some of those guys back. Their starting quarterback who's been out, Miles Burkett, he said he's hopeful that he'll be back out there. He did not play the last game, and they had Seven McGee out there at the wide receiver position. Van Weber was the quarterback, but then they went to Trey Lindsey, or check that. They started with Lindsey, went to Weber, and he's a young kid, and they really like him. Catuzzo was talking highly about him.
Yeah, he's got a live arm. He can run around a little bit. He reminds me a lot of our guy Connor Kenyon.
Yep.
Got good live arm. Had some turnovers in that game, but I thought when I went back and was getting prepared for this game, I mean their game they played last week was the best one they played in quite some time. And they're going to be a tough out. You know that they're a physical group. I just don't know who's going to play quarterback. Yeah. It really doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to have to be it's another very tough game, and we're going to have to play extremely well because I have great, they're finding themselves right at the wrong time for us.
Yeah.
They're finding themselves on defense. They're finding themselves on offense. They've worked through the injury bug, and we're going out. It's going to be a good football game.
Yeah, if it is Burkett coming back, the starter, he's number 3 in the CAA in passing yards per game and number 4 in total offense. So he's a tough nut, and the young kid played pretty well last weekend. What area of the game concerns you the most when you look at the Great Danes?
I think that, you're like unknowns are the things that bother you. You don't know who's going to play quarterback. But it seems like that's been the story almost the last 3 weeks.
Sure,
but,
right.
You look at the running game, I think that they're very good offensively, in terms of running and passing, mixing it on up. Biggest things I worry about, is just, us, our ability to come on out and operate in all 3 phases. If we meet the things that we set as the criteria for success, on all 3 phases, we'll be successful on Saturday. But, all it takes is a little bit of, help that you give the other team, and that becomes problematic.
Yeah, you won the turnover battle last weekend against Delaware 2-1, and the 1 came on the final play, final offensive play. So that has to encourage you that you were able to get a couple of takeaways.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it all year long. When you start looking at a 1-loss record and you look at our negative turnover margin, those 2 things don't really match up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that you look at where we go, from there, we need to be able to take the ball off these guys a couple of times, and we got to make sure we hold on to it. I mean, that becomes critically important, particularly in a wind game, all the things that can come into play with the conditions, which we'll see. We'll have a good chance to practice into tomorrow because apparently it's going to be very similar.
You mentioned earlier that you want to just be able to do the things you want to do, play your game. Is this team at a point where maybe – aside from other teams, whether teams you coach or other teams outside there, that you can say, hey, if we do what we do, we're going to be successful. We want to know what the other team's doing. We want to do our scouting and everything. But we feel at this point that if you're successful in doing what you want to do, that you're going to win the game.
Yeah, I do, and I think I put a lot on these cats in front of me right now. I think defensively we've got to step up and play a really, really strong game. Again, like conditions do matter. People matter. Everybody's banged up at this point in time, and we're going to lean on our people to come in and play the best they can. But like you said, I mean, don't turn it over. Don't help people when you got the ball in your possession. Get a couple first downs. We'll get some explosions. That we've been that way all year long. Defensively is the consistency and being able to get off the field over and over and over again and create some short fields. That's what I really think is going to be a critical component, and I think that they'll rise up to the challenge without a doubt.
Final thought from you, Coach, and then we're going to say goodbye and see you on Saturday afternoon. You look right in front of us here, and you've got a whole long table full of URI football players. Tommy and Wes were the guests, and they brought a lot of their friends with them. as a coach, that's going to make you feel pretty good.
Well, what makes me feel really good is that young man, Westley Neal, I saw him as a freshman, and I told him, I said, you go ahead and do what I think you're going to do. You're going to be a captain. He's done an incredible job as a leader. These guys go out to eat every Thursday night apparently, and I gotta check it. I gotta give them some extra on their scholarships probably to cover the amount of food they're eating. But Wes has done a great job, in terms of leading that group and leading the defense. I mean, it's always positive, and he's really grown in that role, and it is good. It's good to see guys have camaraderie. It's good to see a brotherhood, because really when it comes down to it, the quality and the ability to win football games hinges tremendously on the chemistry you have between the kids. They're fighting for each other. They're loving one another. They're going through the same strains and struggles, and they come out on the right end. And to get to that locker room after a good W is what I live for, and I'm sure they do as well. Last weekend was not what we wanted, and we got to get that taste out of our mouth, and we got to go do it versus a good Albany team.
Absolutely. We had two guests. We had Wes, and you touched on him, Tommy as well. Tommy Smith is one of the great college football stories.
Let me tell you, I really do believe that there's a future for that kid. As he continues to go, obviously we've got games in front of us, and we want to play as many as we can, but his ability to do special teams, to be able to block, to be able to catch the ball, he's got good catch radius. I think it's all in front of him still, truthfully. I'm very excited to see what he can do after graduation. But I'm most excited to see what he's going to do this
Saturday,
weekend.
right? 1 o'clock. Yeah, right. Graduation's a little bit off. 1:15. Maybe something at 1:15 would be
I'm
great.
not big on the graduation stuff, man. Let's go win the game,
Anytime
man.
1 to 4.
Yeah,
That'd be good, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Coach,
Yes,
we're
sir.
all excited about the season ahead
Yep.
and the big game on Saturday.
Yep.
So thanks for making it an exciting year for us. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man.
All right.
You're the heart and soul, bro.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. We're in trouble now.
Yeah, you and the guy in the shorts over there. And the guy in the tie back there.
You got them all. George McAuliffe. Thanks to all the URI guys for coming out and supporting Wes and Tommy. And thanks for all you do for University of Rhode Island. We appreciate you guys very, very much. And go Rhody. See you on Saturday.
Thanks for listening to the Jim Fleming Show. Tonight's show has been brought to you by Rhode Island Medical Imaging, the official medical imaging company of URI Athletics. Dunkin' Donuts, sip the Rhody way. Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. And by Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust is a proud sponsor of URI football. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Rhody Sports Network.